Good evening, darlings and deviants. My name is Lucy, and I'm just a little loony. Today, we're back looking at the Set Booster exclusive Commander cards. If you're confused about what that string of nonsense words meant, take a look at this video here, where I talk about these cards and go over the first two sets that had these cards, and then come back here. Okay, now that you're back here, let's get it going. Today, we'll be covering Kamigawa, Neon Dynasty, and Streets of New Capena. Frankly, this is where things started popping off both in terms of design and flavor. There's some extremely fun and really powerful cards in these sets, from massive monsters to modern machinery. Without further ado, let's start the show. After years and years of waiting, we finally made it back to Kamigawa. The set was amazing, there was a bunch of cool cards, and the set booster exclusives were just as good. Some of them are a little bit niche, but all of them have their place in Commander. To start off, we have another cycle. The Myojin are a bunch of big boys at 5 and 3 of their respective colors, and they all come into play with an indestructible counter if you cast it from your hand, and they can remove said counter to do a big effect. Yes, this does mean they suck if they're your commanders. Don't play them in the command zone, that is a very, very bad idea. Myojin of the Blooming Dawn is a 4/6 that removes its counter to make a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token for each permanent you control. Note that it's not non-land, so it's at least making dudes equal to your lands, resulting in at least as many spirits as a rapidly vacated strip mall. Myojin of Cryptic Dreams is a 3/3 that removes its counter to copy a permanent spell you control 3 times. There's so many possibilities for this that it kind of blows my mind. Pick your favorite non-legendary permanent, and now imagine you have 4 of them and see how crazy that can get. Myojin of Grim Betrayal is a 5/2 that removes its counter, and it lets you put onto the battlefield, under your control, all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from anywhere this turn. That not only includes mill effects, but it also includes board wipes, and considering this guy is indestructible while it has the counter on it, you can board wipe while he's on the field and still get all of those creatures. Myojin of Roaring Blades is a 7/4 that removes its counter to deal 7 damage to up to 3 different targets. It can hit players, I guess, but I'm not really a huge fan of this one personally. Myojin of Towering Might is a massive 8/8 that can remove its counter to distribute 8+1/+1 counters on creatures you control, and those creatures get trampled. It can target itself at the worst, and the more counter doubling effects you have, the better this card gets. So these are all okay until you introduce Proliferate into the game, and then they all just go off the rails. They're annoying to remove, and these abilities are all at instant speed. If you're packing Karn's Bastion and similar effects, try out the Myojin in your next deck. I think Blooming Dawn personally is the best because it stacks with itself and each activation just results in more and more and more spirits. Next is Ruthless Technomancer. For 3 and a black, you get a 2/4 human wizard with, when Ruthless Technomancer enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature you control. If you do, create a number of treasure tokens equal to that creature's power. It's a pretty good effect, but the true power lies in the second ability. For 2 and a black, you sacrifice X artifacts and return target creature card with power X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Before you try to get cute, X can't be 0. This ability mentioning power is fantastic because it lets you cheat out really expensive stuff for cheap. Go-Shintai of Life's Origins is 3 and a green for a 3/4 legendary enchantment creature, Shrine, and it has, whenever Go-Shintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, you create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token. Shrines are a series of enchantments that get better the more of them you have. They're kind of like donuts. I like donuts. Keep in mind, if you need to name a creature type, Shrine is not one of them. That's an enchantment type. And considering the fact that shrines are in all colors, if you're building a commander deck based around them, you probably want your commander to be, a 5-color commander. And luckily, Go-Shintai has an ability that costs all 5 colors. For Wooburg and tap, you can return an enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. While it's easy to see this card and just think, Unga Bunga Shrine Go Brr, don't discount the ability to play Go-Shintai as an enchantment reanimator commander, cheating out some of the biggest and baddest enchantments in all of Magic. Finally, the goodest boy. Yoshimaru, Ever Faithful, is 1 white for a 1/1 legendary Doggo that has, whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Yoshimaru, Ever Faithful, and he has Partner. There's a bunch of legendary permanents nowadays, from lands to tokens to artifacts to creatures, just more and more and more. Yoshimaru can get very big, very fast. Give him a partner and he'll be your best buddy for life. If you've built a Yoshimaru deck, let me know down in the comments and let me know who you partnered him with. I love seeing other people's decks, and I love seeing the most precious boy in action. New Capena, the city that never sleeps. Or, you know, sleeps all the time because there are so many people sleeping with the fishes. In my opinion, the exclusive cards here are the first that are all 100% home run bangers in terms of flavor. Boxing Ring is 1 and a green for an artifact that reads, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Okay, that's pretty good, but there's a bit more text there with the same mana value. They had to ruin it somehow. You can also tap it and make a treasure token if something fought this turn. So for a while, this card was pretty niche. There's not that many legendaries that really want to fight, and there's only so many fight spells. But there are more and more different commanders that are coming out that facilitate fighting on demand, and not having to rely on those limited fight spells. Wada, Trainer Prodigy from the Velociraptor Precon, for instance, loves this card. And needless to say, the flavor is great. Same mana value means the fight has to be fair, and no matter what, the person who owns the ring gets paid. Tenuous Truce is really funny to me because it basically makes all those sketchy deals we make in Commander games have actual gameplay ramifications. It's 1 and a white for an aura enchantment that enchants an opponent. At the beginning of the enchanted opponent's end step, you and that player each draw a card. However, if you or a said opponent attacks the other, the truce is over. Card's not great, but once again, the flavor's on point. If you attack me when I've enchanted you with this, lose my number, don't talk to me ever again, the truce is done. Swindler Scheme is 2 and a blue for an enchantment that says, whenever an opponent casts a spell from their hand, you may reveal the top card of your library. If it shares a card type with that spell, counter that spell, and that opponent may cast the revealed card without paying its mana cost. This card is... it's bad. It's just kind of bad. The flavor is only okay, and the ability is kind of awful because if you're revealing something from your deck, don't you want to cast that spell? And even if you do want to donate stuff like you're playing Zedru or something, you're not guaranteed to get the effect unless you're manipulating the top card of your library, and at that point, we are putting way too much value into this scheme. Spiteful Repossession is a 4 and a red for a sorcery that deals damage to each opponent that controls more lands than you. How much? Well, the difference between your lands and theirs. You also then get treasure tokens equal to the damage dealt this way. This card is very cute. The problem is it's 5 mana for a middling effect on average, unless you're playing against someone dumping piles and piles of lumber onto the battlefield, or you're behind on lands in the first place and we don't want to be there at all. There's also some shenanigans that make this card absolutely back-breaking, but that's for another video. Just remember that Zuranorb is a very real and very good magic card. Threefold Signal is just... this card is great. I need to find a place to put this card ASAP. It looks so fun. For 3 mana, you get an artifact that lets you scry 3 times when it enters the battlefield. From then on, each spell you cast that's exactly 3 colors, no more no less, has replicate for 3 generic mana. So basically, if you cast a 3-color spell, you copy it for each time you paid that 3 generic mana. It's a stoplight in Magic that lets you twin cast Cruel Ultimatum. I love this card so much, it's great. Mari, the Killing Quill, is 1 and 2 black for a 3/2 legendary vampire assassin with, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. Why yes, I would love Mari to hit on me. Wait, what? She also has assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns in exile. If you do, draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. Notably, it does not remove them from exile. They stay gone forever. As a note, this includes herself. I like this cool little minigame, and she plays really well with all 3 of those creature types. Personally, I think there's other commanders that do what she does better in those sorts of typal decks, but she definitely earns a slot in all of those sorts of decks. Vazi, Keen Negotiator, is very hot, and I want her to... Wait, this is the wrong script. Vazi, Keen Negotiator, is 2, a black, a red, and a green for a 3/3 legendary human advisor with haste, and tap, target opponent creates X treasure tokens where X is the number of treasure tokens you created this turn. I, personally, don't like giving my opponents treasures, so why should I want to do that, Vazi? She has a second ability that reads, whenever an opponent casts a spell or activates an ability, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast or activate it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then draw a card. Ah, that makes more sense. The more treasure becomes more ubiquitous in Commander, the cooler and more powerful Vazi gets. She's wonderful. The best card from the New Capena set booster cards is easily Bennie Bracks, Zoologist. He's 3 and a white for a 3/2 legendary elf druid with Convoke and the ability to draw a card at the beginning of each instep if you created a token. It doesn't really take a genius to figure out why this card's great. Making tokens is so easy to do in white, and within one spin of the table, you have drawn 4 cards with Bennie and it's so easy to do so. Makes sense why he's, wait, $25, holy. And with that, that's all of the set booster exclusive cards in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and Streets of New Capena. Did any of these cards give you an idea for your next deck? Maybe you're like me and brewing something to make Threefold Signal super good? And hey, if you like these commander cards, maybe you'll like this video I did on Inquisitor Eisenhorn. I'm totally not asking you to watch it to establish a solid alibi. Anyway, thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, au revoir!